acsportstips.com. We're breaking off into the college football analysis for Thursday night as well. We're going to just talk about a couple of coaching debuts on Thursday night. Some coaches kick it off, in some unexpected places. We have Mike Leach taking off Washington State at BYU. To date, Wednesday night, Leach still hasn't named a starter for this game at quarterback, and that scares me a little bit for a couple of reasons. If you have confidence in your quarterback, you're not afraid to name him. The fact that Leach has been mum on the quarterback situation leads me to believe he's really not sold on the quarterbacks fitting his system right now. So that could pose a problem for Washington State heading out to Provo to face BYU. We're all going to see. Washington State's been one of the bottom teams of the Pac-12, and we're going to see what they can do in Mike Leach's system. He's proven he's a winner. He got railroaded in Texas Tech, and we're going to see exactly his his foundation being built in Washington State for the Cougars, and that'll be a great coaching debut. That's a 10:15 start on ESPN. We have another game that we're looking at. It's going to be UCLA and Rice. Jim Moore Jr. for the Pac-12 too. This is a team that's underachieved, mentally, physically. They've had talent at UCLA and just have an attitude as being quitters. It started at the end of Bob Toledo's career at head coach. It started with the hiring of Carl Durrell, and it carried over to Neuheisel. This team has showed that they don't have mental fortitude. They just, when they get down, they folded over recent years. They haven't showed that they can, make the next step in the Pac-12, and they take on Rice with, jumping Sam McGuffey. If you remember him, he was a top-rated running back out of the state of Texas, went to Michigan for a couple of years. He was known on YouTube for jumping over people. He had a good year last year, and he's a dependable back. Look for Rice, to be a formidable opponent for UCLA. Jim Moore is a very strict coach, and they haven't been used to that, in California in a while over there, and that's going to be a major shock to this team. So curious to see how UCLA shows up on Thursday night. That could be a tougher game than people think as well, just because, when you build a system, it's a very tough way for a team. It takes a while for a team to buy into it, and he's going to weed out the good players from the bad. So that's a key game that you want to keep your eye on Thursday night. UCLA at Rice. You want to keep your eye on a Conference USA game. Central Florida taking on Terry Bowden in Akron down in Ohio. That's Terry Bowden's debut. First time he's back in 1A football since his days at Auburn back in 1998. Congratulations to him. He deserves to be in 1A coach. It's shocking that he never had another gig after that. He went to ABC, and we're happy that he's back coaching at Akron. He takes on Central Florida and George O'Leary, and there's a team. Jeff Godfrey, left after last season. He's back as a wide receiver, the starting running back, quarterback at Central Florida. They break in Blake Bortles, who took over the starting job, and Blaine Gabbert's brother, Tyler Gabbert. So, there's the toss-up at the quarterback position there. Who wins? Bortles is the type of quarterback where he's a more pocket passer. He proved that against Southern Miss last year. He can throw the football. He's not as good as a scrambler as Jeff Godfrey was, but he shows that he can play within the system. Latavius Murray, a senior running back for the Knights, looks to have a big year. Central Florida basically, underachieved last year. They were picked to win the Conference USA, and, they had some tough losses last year, especially on Thursday night last year against BYU. That was a backbreaker. That instead of being 2-2 last year, they just fell right off the charts, and that game just epitomized their season. But when you look at these games, there's a couple of key, factors. Coaching debuts. We were anxious to see Kevin Sumlin and Texas A&M versus Louisiana Tech. Another underrated coach that proves he can win at Houston. Curious to see how he takes over the mess created by Mike Sherman. Not sure how Mike Sherman keeps getting jobs in the NFL and coaching. Sort of like Chan Gailey, these regurgitated Dallas Cowboy coaches, how they continue to fail and yet get key jobs. So these are the coaches that you want to keep your eye on Thursday night. We have Mike Leach at Washington State, Terry Bowden at Akron, and Jim Mora Jr. at UCLA.